So the topics of discussion for this video are as follows. Why did Engin Terzi delete the Devon Larratt live stream? Who is in the right here? Is it Devon? Is it Engin? What's this madness all about? What are the wrong points that these two are making? What are the right points that these two, especially Devon Larratt, should be making instead of the current argument that he's trying to have with Engin right now, which isn't going anywhere? And I know it's kind of late to start this conversation again because it has already been a few days since then, but it's important and we have not discussed it here, so why not? One warning from my side before you watch this video, that this video may leave you with more questions than answers after you end up watching it. So please forgive me for that as well. So the main question, why did Engin delete his live stream with Alex Cordecha, with Jerry Cadret and with Devon Larratt? Such a massive live. Everyone wanted to see it. I wanted to see it. In fact, I was kind of planning on watching it at 2x speed after it ended so that I can save some time. And to my surprise, or maybe not to my surprise, Engin deleted this one as well, just like he does with many of his other live streams. It's a common thing right now. So what's the reason this time? Well, I didn't get to watch it as I just mentioned, but I did some research and I found out that Devon Larratt once again started the infamous King's Move discussion, which always pisses Engin Terzi off. There was no surprise here. It kind of had to happen. And after trying to avoid Devon multiple times before this as well, this time Engin couldn't take it. There was a heated conversation for a few seconds, I've heard, and then Engin deleted this one. So right now, Engin is in a spot where he cannot do much about that because Devon is like kind of the homelander right now. He can do whatever the fuck he wants because I remember correctly about 3 years or so ago, about the same subject, Engin Terzi ended up blocking Devon Larratt and he may have in fact called him the enemy of Turkish arm wrestling or something that was mentioned by Devon himself. But right now, Devon is selling pay-per-views. Back then, Engin did not need Devon to sell pay-per-views. Right now, he does, so Devon can do whatever he wants, and Engin may have to tolerate this, and he may have to delete these live streams. I know it's Engin's channel, it's Engin's live, he can do whatever he wants, just like Devon Larratt, but it's like seeing a parent shouting at a kid for way too long. I know, it's his house, it's his kid, he can do whatever he wants, but still you try to convince him in some way which is better for everyone. The same thing can be said here as well. I think we can try to stop Engin Terzi from doing these. Of course, final decision is going to be his, but we should not give up just like that because everyone keeps on talking about these deleted videos. They have been doing that for way too long right now. So what's Devon's take on this? Devon is saying that this King's move below the shoulder below the table in a neutral or losing position, this foul should be removed because it is a dangerous position foul. It is not mentioned that it gives you some kind of advantage. It's a dangerous position foul and there is no such thing as a dangerous position at a professional level. And I 100% agree with that. Even at amateur level, I kind of find it weird that the referees are telling the athletes to kind of square the shoulders mid-match to not look away like this. Man, it's their responsibility. I know I can understand if there are some sponsors who are saying that if we see an arm break live on television, we are going to pull away our money. Then maybe you have to be extra careful about that, but only for that reason. Otherwise, I don't think it makes much sense even at an amateur level. So I 100% agree with Devon here. The second point that Devon is trying to make is if both athletes can do that, then why not allow it? It's not that I'm the only one who can go under the table. My opponent can also do that, so allow it. I think this argument is ridiculous and it makes absolutely no sense. Engin countered it perfectly, which we are going to discuss later in this video. The sport should evolve, it should not be limited. Perfect point from Devon, and there are many things that do limit the sport and this may be one of them, so I kind of agree here as well. The athletes should be given more power than the referees. This is what Devon truly believes in. I may not agree with this point because the referees do need to be powerful, otherwise the competition is just who is more of a bully before the match starts. We want to see who's a bigger bully after the match starts, not before that. And no, the match in arm wrestling does not start before the referee says go. It's a wrong mindset. So let's discuss Engin's points here. Engin said one point which absolutely blew my mind away. I still cannot get over with it, and this is one of the main reasons why I'm making this video. So you'll be surprised to hear what Engin actually said. Engin said that he doesn't give a fuck about the King's Mover's arm getting injured. He's more worried about the other guy on which the King's Move is being performed against. And that to me is absolutely completely nonsensical, because why? East versus West is still following WAF rules, although loosely, but that is the foundation. East versus West means WAF rules. And Engin Terzi, maybe you have forgotten that, but rule number 8.1.6 of WAF 2020 edition or 2022 edition it is, I think. The competitors cannot drop the competing shoulder below the level of elbow pad when in a neutral or losing position. This will be considered as a dangerous position. So the WAF acknowledges that this is a dangerous position for the athlete who is doing the move. Devon acknowledges that. And you're saying that you follow WAF rules, but you don't give a shit about WAF rules? That to me is a really, really bad statement, and people should be talking about this more. I think everyone kind of missed that. So Engin is saying that it is unfair advantage. Everything is an unfair advantage. What isn't an unfair advantage? So the athlete pulling back as hard as he can, while the sport is mostly, the main rule of arm wrestling is keeping your elbow on the pad. When you go back and you go up, you're trying to force your opponent's elbow to lift off, and he has to fight that. And he has to kind of ignore his side pressure, trying to stop his hand from getting taken. Isn't that an unfair advantage? Well, then you can say the elbow is on the pad. But the elbow is on the pad when somebody tries to push as well. This is a rule that Neil Pickup was worried about, maybe because of his bias, maybe because he's a top roller and he was getting pushed off the back of the pad. And maybe there is a bias here as well, because in 2001, Engin Terzi faced a King's Mover who kind of injured Engin for life. And he still hasn't gotten over that. So Engin's hate for the King's Move is clearly visible there. And I'm not saying if you hate something and you change the rule, then it is bad for everyone. Maybe you hate it because it is actually bad and the change is good for everyone. But this may be the case here, or this may not be the case here. It's kind of also like if you have an alcoholic father who used to beat you up a lot after drinking, and then you become the president or prime minister of a country, and now you make a law that alcohol is banned throughout the country. Why? Because you think it is bad. Well, is it good? Maybe not. Is it bad? Maybe. But is banning that throughout the country just because you had a bad past with that, is it correct? I'm not really sure. Devon's love for the King's Move is kind of obvious because he can go under the table. That's the only way he can stop some of the arm wrestlers, which he cannot stop otherwise. He stopped Levan Saginashvili in that position, in that foul position, and his arm did not go down. So that maybe is giving him some hope. So Engin's hate towards the King's Move is understood. Devon's love towards the King's Move is understood. So what Devon should be saying here instead of having this argument? So Engin countered Devon's argument, if both can do it, why not allow it? Engin said that both can elbow foul as well. Why not allow that too? So that kind of makes total sense. Great point by Engin Terzi. That is not a valid argument from Devon. Devon should be talking about why do we allow the shoulder to go in a downward position below parallel in a winning position. I know people will get mad at me for saying this because there are some things which are kind of understood and everyone kind of takes them for granted. Yes, that's the way it is. We should not question it. But my question is, why shouldn't we question it? I think we should. Does dropping the shoulder, if Engin talks about an unfair advantage, doesn't dropping the shoulder below the table when you're trying to finish your opponent with a top roll, doesn't that give you an unfair advantage? Imagine you're a top roller and from today onwards, even in a winning position, you cannot go below the table. Your life is going to get changed if you do not have a transition to a press to finish the match. So isn't that an unfair advantage? A hooker can say, I was able to stop these guys until they started going under the table. So why not that? Maybe at some point, the top rollers realized that they are not able to win this match. So maybe they allowed the shoulder to go below the table. They kind of vouched for it. So everything gives an advantage. Everything takes some advantage away. We cannot so easily argue about what's unfair advantage. Because to me, if I look at that way, Devon should be asking this question: how isn't going below the table in an offensive position, in a top role position, an unfair advantage? Because to me, it clearly is. So this topic is kind of wide open. I don't know the answer to these questions, but as of now, I don't fully stand behind Engin about this unfair advantage thing. Well, do I think that banning the King's move in a under the table position, was that the right decision? It kind of gave the fans what they wanted, and mostly the sports evolve around the fans, around what they want. So I think they have gotten what they wanted, so maybe it should stay that way. Hopefully you have more questions now than you had before. Thanks for watching. Like the video and mention those questions in the comment section. Thanks.